Listen, I am not a parent and no, I don't fully understand the extreme difficulties two individuals have to take on in order to effectively raise a child.
It's cuckoo for Cocoa
However, I just want to give my take on co-parenting relationships that seem healthy and horrendous. First off, I don't like the concept of co-parenting necessarily, since I believe a child should live with both of their parents throughout their childhood. However, I do understand shit happens and parents break up or get divorced, which is completely understandable. My gripe with co-parenting is I believe most individuals don't necessarily take into account the severity of their actions when they create a child. Within most relationships, the birth of a child brings happiness and joy, but over time the harsh realities of caring for a baby take a toll on some relationships. In some cases, two individuals get together and are getting it in, damn near on the daily. Most couples who've been together for a while may feel it's unnecessary to use condoms and/or birth control, which inevitably leads to pregnancy. Now at this point, a dude in the relationship may show his true colors, quote unquote, since a lot of dudes just wanna fuck and don't necessarily think about how continuously smashing this chick is going to affect him in the long run.
I have just seen so many people surrounding me have their first baby mother and their disagreements be insane that calling her a fluke is nice. What I'm asking of you in this situation is to beat. What you're asking of me is a lifetime.
Once pregnancy is involved, playtime's over. Most individuals, especially men, instantly foresee the massive amount of responsibility they would need to take in order to raise this child. A lot of dudes don't want that responsibility since it comes with so much added stress. Also, who you choose to make a baby with is instantly examined once one's pregnancy gets announced. Because at that point you will be forever attached to this man or woman through the connection of the child. Some men impregnate fine and, quote-unquote, promiscuous women that meet their sexual desires, but later I think have somewhat of an internal dialogue within themselves about their future baby mama's parenting style. A chick may seem cool within a relationship, but her qualities as a human being that you overlooked at first must be brought to the forefront, since this woman will be raising your future child and some of her shitty qualities may be passed down. As a woman, one should also know that if you're not tied down by your baby daddy, the dude could possibly decide this is just way too much responsibility and leave your ass high and dry. Parenthood isn't a joke, you can't hide what's inside, and when a momentous life-changing event happens, people are going to reveal more and more stuff about themselves. This dynamic is especially prevalent within Black households since according to NPR.org, damn near 70% of Black children are born out of wedlock. Brookings.edu states in 1990 the rates had risen to 64% for Black infants who were born out of wedlock. Out of wedlock meaning not married. Relating to co-parenting, Black couples have notoriously been portrayed, mostly by themselves, as bad co-parents who can't seem to find a common ground to raise their children. Black households have a cascade of issues that relate to horrible absent fathers, verbally and emotionally abusive mothers, systematic racism, glorified violence, colorism, miseducation, more miseducation, and a cascade of other problems. Black fathers who weren't raised valuing a stable familial structure may be more likely to leave and abandon their familial duties. In some cases, Black fathers may be pushed out of caring for their children by their baby moms who may seem over-emotional, and they may use the court system to their advantage so they gain custody of the child. The mother may feel justified in gaining custody of the child since many societies across the world see mothers as the primary caretakers of children and oftentimes discredit the father's role in a child's life. Within a baby's first few years of existence, the mother, I think, is the primary caregiver of the child, meaning mainly feeds, clothes, and nurtures the child. The father may not feel entirely critical in those moments, early moments, which enables a lot of these fathers to leave. But I think as children get older and experience the world, they may need a strong masculine presence to guide them through the harshness life has to throw at them.
In America, mothers are more likely to prevent interaction between father and child for personal reasons, rather than factors relevant to child development. This ain't just black women either. Ladies, the child came through you, but it don't belong to you. Not from an African frame of reference. Study your culture. If you want to go back to Egypt, at least study how the families were viewed, okay? The child comes through you, but it belongs to the community. You have to get rid of this consciousness that says, that's my child. I carried her. I carried him. They look just like me, not you. It don't matter if you spit them out. That's still their daddy. It takes two to make that child, not one. And guess what? If you try to do it by yourself, you're going to make a mistake, because God did not design humanity to be raised in a house of one parent. See, you need 50% feminine energy and you need 50% masculine energy. That's the balance. All of us are half male, half female, but one dominates. So if your daughter don't get validated by her father, she'll spend the rest of her life looking for validation. Now you teach her how to be a lady, but he must validate her womanhood. Don't you ever forget that. If your son is always up under your skirt and never get that masculine structure, he might start wanting to wear one.
I also feel like a lot of moms feel like they have complete control and dominance over their kids, which makes sense because mothers are usually nurturing and caring. But some moms tend to dismiss the role of the fathers, especially in the kids' earlier years, which I think is messed up. Children who grow up in a household with one parent out of it may lean towards the other parent, to gain the energy the absent parent left behind. For example.
But you don't understand at all, or you don't see a correlation at all between a man not having a father, being raised by his mom only, being more emotional than a man with both parents?
I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible.
You don't think that it's more likely than not?
Let me word it just a bit different. Still having those emotions, but being able to control them differently by having a man to teach you how to channel man emotions.
It's exactly what Method Man said about me that I came in here a few months ago and said. He said, if my dad was there, then I might have handled it differently. But because I was raised by my mom, I was in touch with the emotion of it. And we're all emotional. You're right. But,
naturally, yes.
But I guess the point is, how do you go about, how do you handle that?
Right. Yeah. How do you handle your emotions?
I do agree with Rory's point, in which every human being is in fact emotional. But having a solid masculine presence in the household can greatly influence a child's mind state and attitude when they get older. Usually, when co-parenting occurs, the child who lives with the mom may acquire feminine attitudes. For example, males may tend to get away with certain miscreant activities since their mom may baby them and most likely wouldn't take away the emotion for their child from their child's actions, if that makes sense. Basically what I'm saying is the mother would most likely let their child off the hook if the kid did something wrong, and I would argue a father will probably not do that. To end things, I just wanted to give my opinion on this matter of co-parenting and how it can affect the child and the parents.